Now, at the end of every week, the jewellers around the benches here at Smith & Pepper will be going through this with a magnet to hopefully pull out any ferrous metal that had come off the tools, so that once a month this would be weighed back into Mr. Tom. This is now called Lemel, this sort of filing and stuff. So he could do the sums to see if this lot had lost an acceptable amount of his gold. One of the big unspoken rules around the factory was you did not touch another jeweller's workstation. This is the entire space you would have as a jeweller. Then there's 12 people around this one bench. Now, it wasn't just because there'd be gold on the benches, it was also because the skilled jewellers would closely guard their own tools. You wouldn't be allowed to go near another jeweller's tools. Now, once you've drilled a hole through your precious metal, the skilled jeweller could then come along and do some very, very precise and delicate work with a saw. It would be very, very precise work because the apprenticeship to become a jeweller was 7 years long. And all of that skill, now sort of fitted into your hands, would be used to wield a saw blade of that thickness. This is your jeweller saw, your piercing saw. And in fact, when you came to start your training with this firm, age 14, they would give you this and expect you to practice with it for around 6 months until you were perfect beyond compare. Then the rest of your training was just another 6.5 years, because it was a 7-year apprenticeship. And that meant the skilled jewellers of the past were well used to working within 1/100th of an inch accuracy. And they were certainly the best paid of Birmingham's workforce in the Victorian period.
As English and Dutch pirates were constantly attacking and capturing treasure ships. Just as I suspected. My fellow countrymen absolutely adored the taste of
Look,
just look around.
found the treasure.
Everyone is happy.
Carry that.
Chocolate and cocoa arrived in England under Cromwell, but didn't gain popularity until the restoration of King Charles II, when it became popular both at court and with the wealthy. Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist, wrote of it the day after the coronation of Charles II.
Waked in the morning with my head in a sad taking from last night's drink, which I am sorry for. So rose and went out with Mr. Creed to drink our morning draught, which he gave me chocolate to settle my stomach.
we as Quakers strongly disagreed. And so as my business began to prosper, I was able to attract fashionable customers to buy my goods and see the colourful displays in my shop window. In my spare time, I experimented with preparations of cocoa beans and chocolate, which I could sell in the shop. Soon I had to rent a warehouse in nearby Crooked Lane, where I could manufacture these products on a larger scale. At first, it was very difficult, because I had to pay high taxes on cocoa beans. And then, on top of all that, I had to move out of Crooked Lane and into another factory, here in Bridge Street. That's when my brother Benjamin joined me, and together we formed Cadbury Brothers.
It's the different fingers in there. When it can reach the hole, it's ready. Another way, set a bit of chocolate aside. It gets nice and sticky, it's ready. Third way, my favourite way. Everyone else's favourite way. Thanks, because that's what these should do there. Everyone, close your eyes, please. Close your eyes. Who's in to close your eyes? Oh. Right, here we go. Right, now stay. Would you like to see chocolate go up in the air? Come back down. Yeah, would you like to see chocolate go up in the air? Come back down. Yeah, all the rest, turn around. Right, here we go then. 1, 2, 3. Everybody wants to do that again? Yeah. Here we go then. 1, 2, 3.
Lizards and giant dragonflies. When they died, their remains sank into the mud and were in turn recorded in layers of fossilized plant material, which eventually became coal. Many seams of coal were laid down, giving the geological period its name, the Carboniferous. The coal, interspersed with deposits of iron ore, was eventually covered by later rocks and sank many hundreds of feet below the surface. Folding and fracturing the Earth's crust pushed the deposits of coal and limestone up through the later rocks, and wind and rain over millions of years eroded away these later deposits, leaving Dudley Castle Hill and the nearby Wren's Nest Hill standing proud as we see them today. These hills, with their thick coating of vegetation, remained largely undisturbed as life and eventually man evolved around them. Undisturbed, that is, until human technology took a sudden, dramatic turn. The Industrial Revolution.
Follow your spirit upon this charm, cry God for Harry, England and St. George.